Okay, cool. So, my thoughts basically, I'm just going to sort of hit you with my ideas so far, and you can tell me what your thoughts are. Um, but my thoughts for your character, essentially, I'm thinking the big stuff is she has chosen to undergo some kind of rite that has blocked her memories and allowed her to join this group, the Burning Path, so that she can work alongside them and also um, kind of report back occasionally to her mistress. And her mistress is, of course, a silver dragon. Um, right? And so she is also an ancestor of that silver dragon. So that silver dragon, Azariah, um, actually, it might not be Azariah. Azariah is the sire of the dragon that you probably know. Um, the dragon that you know would be Asterios. So you might want to write that down. I'm going to copy and paste it into the chat for you. Here we go. Asterios. It could even be Asterios, actually. Let's change it a little. Asterios. Asterios. Something like that. Anyway, so it's in the Zoom chat, the name. Or some mixture of those words. Maybe it's spelled differently in different languages, depending on who asks. How does this sound to you so far?
Where sounds good. Where is that chat?
Yeah, the if you're on Zoom, the little chat button at the bottom should have popped up with a red icon to tell you there was a message.
Yeah, I found it.
Found it. Cool.
Whoops. So my ancestor is Asterius.
Yeah.
A gold dragon?
Silver. Silver. Because a gold dragon would have fairly different motives to a silver dragon in this case. So, silver dragons are known to transform into people and elves and things, and you know this about them.
Yeah.
So that would make a certain amount of sense. So the stuff that we do today, what I'm thinking is that at the moment, at the beginning of the next game session we do with the group, at that point you still don't remember this stuff, but because you will have played it out, you will have access to that information that you can kind of play in on your own terms. Like, when do you want to remember things, and when things come back for you is up to you, and you can use your own talent and creativity to choose when and how that comes back, right? And choose
like a door opening and the memory comes.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that's kind of the idea here. So do you have any thoughts initially that about what I've just sort of told you, first of all? Thoughts or feelings about any of that? Does it sound good to you so far?
No, that makes sense.
Makes sense. Okay, cool. All right. So my other thought was, and I definitely don't want you to tell the other players about this one, that you're not merely a draconic bloodline sorcerer. That maybe, in fact, now, and I don't want this to come up in the game really, but I think it could be cool. Is that there is a possibility that she might, in fact, be a silver dragon herself, that has been turned into a person, or has chosen to turn into a person on a kind of permanent basis for a very long time. So I'm thinking, like, at the moment your characters are about level 8. So sort of about the time you get to level 20, like the long-term story, the big story arc for her would be getting back to her dragon form. It might be some sort of curse or something that has caused her to do this. I mean, obviously, I can't let you turn into a dragon during normal play because that would be unfair on the other players, right?
Yeah.
I want to be a dragon too. Why can't I be a dragon? So I don't want to get into that kind of imbalance in the game with the other players. But when it's
That would be fun.
Right, but when it's one-on-one with us, or if you get to a certain point in the story where it becomes relevant, it could happen. But we have to manage it carefully so that we don't make it feel unfair for the other people.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, yeah. Um, so I take it you're quite
So
keen on, huh?
shouldn't she be more silvery instead of gold?
Yeah, yeah, that's probably a good idea. I mean, are you okay with the silver dragon thing?
Yeah, we could change my appearance to like platinum hair and
Okay. All right, that sounds
you know.
okay, cool. So I guess the thing is, all right, so as for your background, now you've come up with some thoughts about it, like orphanages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's think about that. So do you think those memories are real memories or are they implanted memories? They could be either one, and we could work a way around it, whichever way we go.
Either or, whatever you think would fit with the story.
Okay. Um, well, okay, if she's actually a dragon, then she I'm thinking about it from the point of view of like is that she's not going to transform herself into a child, maybe. I mean, maybe, right? So
No, not in according to the books.
right, she wouldn't turn herself into a child. She'd turn herself into an adult, and um,
Yeah.
I guess what she
So
could
they,
then do, because the thing is, like, dragons have pretty powerful mages, pretty powerful magic, right? They can do things like
yeah.
altering memories and stuff. Now, I'm not suggesting
Mhm.
that anybody's altered your memories against your consent, but you would have had to have consented to having your memories altered for the long game,
Mhm.
a big plan. Um, so the thing is, I think it's really important that whoever the group's enemies are, which primarily right now are the Barakyle envoy, um, do not realize that you're a dragon and are not able to detect your draconicness. Um, they, they may choose to capture you or kill you or study you or transform you or any number of things they might do if they were to figure that out. They might turn you into enemy number one, and you really don't need that kind of heat in this game right now, because
Oh,
you guys
no,
won't
they
survive
totally
that,
against her.
huh?
She wouldn't do that. She
R-
wouldn't do that.
Right, exactly. So, and given that silver dragons are generally inherently good, um, yeah. So, I mean, I guess keep that in mind. So I guess the other things I can tell you about silver dragons is they tend to make their lairs in the clouds, and they have the ability to make clouds walk onable. Um, so I'm considering whether or not your silver dragon sire um, is she does she live on one of the moons, one of the seven moons? Um,
Ooh.
because they sort of hang in the sky in the clouds. I don't have you seen the picture of Hemeth Tirith with let me see if I can get it for you.
With those moons that you had
Yeah,
hanging out
right.
there,
It's like
yeah.
the city on the hill with the moons in the background, right? Yeah, I had that commissioned for
Mhm.
this. So okay, so yeah, it would be like a probably the Sanctum Moon or the Watchtower Moon or something like that. I'm thinking the Sanctum would be the smart one for this. Um, let me think about that. Yeah, that would be the most likely the Sanctum. Yeah. Okay. Let me just type in some notes here because as we go, we're going to want to collect some notes. Um, Sanctum Moon Lair. Okay.
We need to change some of her spells around.
All right. Yep. Fair enough too. All
Because if
right.
she is not going to be a gold dragon, then her powers would be different.
Right, that makes sense.
So we'll have to change my spells to more in tune to a silver dragon.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. I hope this isn't messing with your character.
Oh no.
You're all right with that? Cool. Okay. Now where's my D&D Beyond business?
I'll just put that up here at top and do my research on the spells.
Yep, for sure. All right. So in your previous life as a actually that's another way to look at it actually, you know, that might work almost better. Is that what if in a past life she was a dragon? That would make even more sense because then we don't have to worry about the idea that she's going to outbalance the other players.
Mm-hmm.
But she could remember that life and remember those around her, and the other dragons might know who she is, um, even then. And it may still culminate in her going back to her original form at the end of the campaign, which could be pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
okay, let's work on it from that point of view. I think that makes a lot more sense. Now, what am I doing? I'm looking for a thing here. D&D Beyond, collections, campaigns. Let's pull up the Burning Path. Okay, and Lyssa.
Go back to my race.
All right.
Origin. And then
Wow, you've got absorb elements, shield, and counterspell. That's amazing.
you told me to research.
Yep, doing good.
I
Cool.
just got to change myself from gold to silver.
Right.
Draconic ancestor. Gold. Where is silver? Oh, no, wrong one. Ancestor. Thank you very much. I'm not a white dragon. I will be
No, you don't want to be a white dragon.
silver dragon. There we go.
There you go.
So my power would be cold, so I have to change everything to more cold spells.
Right.
Those would be my strength. So bye firebolt.
Oh no. Um. Well, I mean, look, if you're changing your character too much, we could change this. I don't want to mess with your character too much. I mean, how happy are you with this change?
It's fine. It's fine. I mean, there's spells I could use. They're just as good as firebolts.
Yep. And cold things tend to do things like slowing enemies down too. Like if it sometimes says that in the descriptions of the spells that it will slow their movement down or something like that.
Yeah. Spells. Manage spells. Add spells. There's chill touch.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Whoops. Yeah, I'll go through Ray of Frost, Frigid Beam, blue-white light streaks towards creature within range. That's a
Right.
cold spell. I can do that one. So we'll just remove Firebolt, add Ray of Frost. Where'd you go? Oh, I think I have Ray of Frost already. Fog Cloud. I'll go through them and find anything cold.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
As long as you don't mind me changing them.
Nope. Nope.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go through and keep in mind with Dimension Door. So water spell should be pretty good for me, right?
Yeah. Let me just have a quick look actually and see what sorts of spells.
Be easier.
Frightful presence. Polymorph. Cold breath. Paralysis.
Like Ebenezer Scorcher, I'll have to get rid of Flaming Spear.
I mean, you don't have to get rid of those spells. I mean, really, you don't have to. But if you can if you want to, you can. Obviously. Um, and bear in mind, just because she's a silver dragon or has silver dragon ancestry or whatever, however that works out, um, she's still capable of learning other things. She's a sorcerer, not just an ancestor.
Yeah. Ice Knife.
Ice knife's a great spell.
I
Actually,
can add Ice Knife.
yeah, that's a great spell. The players will love you with that.
Especially if I could shoot more than.
Yeah. The thing about Ice Knife is normally you have to make a to hit roll with it, and then after the to hit roll, there's another burst of damage, which the enemies then have to make a saving throw as well. So there's two chances to hit with it. So it's quite cool.
Well, not only that, I got the Mage Wand.
Right.
Which I decided we can upgrade my Mage Wand.
Sorry?
Upgrade my Mage Wand.
Oh, that'll come later on. You have to find things to do.
When we were in that little area, when we were trying to figure out what we can do. Get
Oh,
me.
right. What stuff you wanted to get.
Yeah.
Okay, let me think about that. I have to be very careful not to unbalance everything, but that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can find something that will work. I need to get the burning path page. Cool. All right. Right, while you're doing that, I might just pause the video for a minute, and then I might go and just hold on a second. Okay, so we're back. Storm Sphere. Cool. Okay. How's your spell choosing going? That's
Storm
obviously where you're
Sphere.
at.
20-foot radius sphere or whirling air springs into existence centered on a point you choose within range. Sphere remains for the spell duration. Each creature in the sphere, when it appears or that ends its turn, must succeed in the strength saving throw or take a 2d6 bludgeoning damage.
Right.
I can use a bonus action on each of your turns to cause a bolt of lightning to peek from the center of the sphere towards one creature I choose within 60 feet of the center.
Right.
Make a ranged spell attack. You have advantage on the attack roll if the target is in the sphere.
Uh-huh.
On a hit, the target takes a 4d6 lightning damage.
This is Storm Sphere, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Has a disadvantage on wisdom perception checks.
oh, that's what it does? Okay. That's good to know. Okay. So it makes it harder for your enemies to know what's going on around them, basically. That makes sense.
Yep. Sounds like a good one.
Sounds like a good one. Oh no. There's a keyboard on the floor.
Not good.
Not good. Okay, I'm better now. Alright.
Alright.
Games.
All I knew is a new cat trip.
Okay, so I'm sort of thinking about this. I'm thinking what might be quite fun for us to do today might be to play flashbacks from her life, and we can establish some interesting background stuff. Yes. Oh, that's interesting.
I could still use Fireball.
Yep.
Healing Blade. I don't want to banish a weapon. All I have is a staff. Frostbite. Which is Frostbite? Oh, that's you gotta touch someone.
Yep.
No, I did not say I wanted that one. Thunderclap?
Thunderclap's good, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
There's Chaos Bolt.
Yeah. Yep. Let's have a look. See for you here. Let's manage spells. Let's see. Okay, Ice Knife. It's good. So you've still got another cantrip to choose as well, I see.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. Chaos Bolt.
Chaos Bolt. Okay, let's have a look at Chaos Bolt. Chaos Bolt. Here it is. Okay, it's a first level spell actually. It's not a cantrip.
Okay. Never mind that one.
Yeah. I mean, you can. Well, I don't know whether you've got enough spell slots left to learn it, or enough, known.
No, I'm out of spell slots.
Okay. So have you got your cantrips?
I need one more cat. I need one more.
One more cantrip. Okay.
One more cat.
So do you know the difference between cantrips and leveled spells? Can you remember? This is a test.
I cat catnets you can do anytime.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And leveled spells require spell slots. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay.
I should
So
automatically have presentation.
so what's the kind of basic concept behind your character? Do you think she's like is she a damage dealer in combat, or is she a healer, or she's not going to be a great healer because she's a sorcerer? But she could be an okay healer. I mean, you've got cure wounds, for example. Um,
Well,
have you
that's
got
because I got the staff.
Oh, right. Does the staff give you cure wounds?
Yes.
Let's have a look at your inventory. So you've got a lesser ring of invisibility. Um, okay, bag of holding, potion of greater
I
healing,
just do Thundercap.
thunderclap. Yep.
Yeah.
Right, staff of healing. Right, 10 charges. Action to expend one or more of its charges to cast one of those following spells. Cure wounds, lesser restoration, or mass cure wounds. Cool. Okay, so great. So one of the
I mean,
things, yeah.
I know I'm not supposed to have it, but
What's that?
that staff, I think it's only for druids and clerics.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Well, we better take that off because you really can't have it if it's for druids and clerics. You're a sorcerer. We're gonna have to take that out, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Uh, okay, so what do we use in place of it?
Um, we'll stick something else in there. Hold on. I will figure out a thing. Manage inventory, equipment, stuff of healing. Um,
Staff. Staff of defense.
yeah, that could work. Hold on.
It'll increase my armor class.
Yeah, well, that would be useful, actually. But let me have a quick look at something. Where's the attunements gone? Go
All
away.
right, bye bye, staff. Hey, you're not supposed to do that.
Right. So you've got the Wand of the War Mage already. That's giving you a +1 to bonus to spell attack rolls. And you can ignore half
Mm-hmm.
cover when making spell attacks. That's pretty kick-ass. Um, so let's have a look. What might be a useful staff for a sorcerer? Yeah, I mean, a staff of defense is not terrible. £3. Gain its benefits. 10 charges used.
Staff of power.
Mage armor, not bad. Yeah, the staff of power is a bit too high. Remember, the blue things are. I don't just give out magic items to people. It's there's got to be some balance there. So we're going to be
Yeah.
looking at mostly green things, pretty much. You've already got 2 blue items, which is already kind of quite high. Let's have a look. Where are they? She got any rings? She got a ring of invisibility already. Okay.
Ring of feather falling.
Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking a ring of mind shielding would be perfect because basically that stops people from reading your mind.
which you seem to do a lot lately.
Right, and you're the only person in the group that didn't get their mind read, actually. So why don't we give you that? Because that would actually explain that too. It would be in character and add to the story that we've already started.
Bring a mind shield.
Yep.
Does that need attunement?
Uh,
Yep.
yep. Yep. But you can switch them out depending on what you're doing. You know, if you know you're going to do a certain thing, you can put it on, and if you know you're going to do something else, you can put something else on. Um,
Yeah. I have that on right now.
oh, all right. Well, let us say these magic items were gifted to you by um, Astarius.
So no staff.
No what?
No staff.
No staff. Sorry.
You place object weighing more than memory. No staff. Okay. Kind of used to that staff. So no healing.
Yeah, sorcerers don't really heal anyway, so it's okay. You mean you've got healing potions? That's okay.
Yeah, I've got 2 of them. I
Yeah.
can add more.
Yep. Um.
They're in my bag of holding. I
Yeah.
mean,
Cool.
I got the potion of greater healing. We can
Yep.
always add a couple more to it.
Well, we don't need to just yet. We can do that in game. Um, you're gonna have to.
Okay.
You'll have to find them and get someone to give them to you, or buy them, or something to that effect.
All right.
So, yes. Um. All right. So I'm sort of thinking, what if we start this story um, in like a maybe a village or a city or something like that? Where do you think would be a good place to make her kind of original home? Where did she live? Um, what does she look like, by the way? You've made a character that is essentially human. Yeah, she's a human. She's a variant human. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so she could well come from Dagdagiel, which would make a lot of sense. That would make the most obvious sense. Um, and in regards to that, we should probably hook her up with one of the high houses um, in some form or another. So you basically have upper houses in Dagdagiel who run that each one of those houses has like a castle or a keep
Mm-hmm.
city. Um, So we have House Caelrin, House Mahadur, House Xanathrea, House Baleburn, whom you've recently met, and it probably wouldn't make sense for you to be part of that house. House Terranathi, House Torvanus, House Galderon, House Kevnarum, House Rantalon, and House Mithralsea. Um, there are a couple of other houses that are not really available to players at this point. Um, now, I would suggest actually House Mahadur as a thing. Your character's name is Manu. I mean,
Manu.
Menu. Okay. Does that mean anything to you? Like, what does that mean in your world, in your mind?
It was just a name I made. I came across in the book that I was reading, and I just happened to like it.
Okay. All right. Well, I do want to kind of connect characters to the world with family lines and stuff like that. So maybe it's a lineage that comes off of one of the main family lines, one of the high houses, because there is a family called Mahadur, which is similar, and maybe that's a line that
Mhm.
comes out of that line, if that makes sense, like a branch of it. Um, so I'll make a note of that. How did you spell your name? Manu or double N?
Manu.
Okay. All right. I'll just put that in brackets. All right.
How do
So,
you spell that house?
yeah. So the house itself, that family line is called Mahadur. I'll put that in the chat here. Um, it's in all caps. um, and the leader of that house and her main steward are these people. Um, and I can give you a couple of other names for some of the lords and ladies of that house too. So here's some other names. So these are all people
Oh,
that you
wow.
you know these people, um, at least to some degree, or you would have known them. I don't know whether you remember them or not, but this is stuff that you can start remembering at any time, right? Um, as
Hmm.
as you are adventuring with the group, you can start sort of going, "Oh, I remember these people," blah blah blah. Um, so they may actually be helpful um, allies, possibly, or in some cases they might be competition. You know, if they're sort of siblings or something like that. I'm thinking they're not really siblings so much as extended relatives. Um, in fact, I have an idea. I have an idea. I have an idea. What if you're talking about an orphanage at one point? What if you started as an orphan, um,
Hmm.
and not a young orphan either, like maybe in your late teens, like before the point where you're an adult, but kind of at the very end of your childhood, kind of thing. Um, and this family picked you up from that orphanage and made you part of their family or their extended family in some way, and you spent some years working um, with them. Maybe you worked your way up the ranks within the family. Does that seem reasonable to you, or um, do you want a more noble beginning? Well, you started as an orphan; that was your plan, so that kind of does work.
Yeah, I could start from working my way up, or
Yeah.
I could have been a lost child of the family that they found.
Right, right.
Or,
That's a good idea, right? So maybe she was brought up in another town or something and they tracked you down.
yep,
I mean, how attached are you to the orphanage?
I'm not attached to it at all. It
Okay.
was a horrible place.
Well, okay, fair enough. I'm asking you though, out of game, not her. um,
I'm not that attached to it.
attached to it. Well, you could come from another town somewhere, and they've been looking for you for some reason. Um, Lady Nisha Mahadur, um, who is one of your bloodline relatives, um, she okay. So okay, I want to do this in game. Actually, I think this would be better. Let's start off with you in a small town somewhere. We'll call this town. Do you have any ideas for a small town? Otherwise, I'm going to name it.
No,
No. Okay,
I
hold on.
don't have my notes out.
Um,
They,
I do have a small town that I can use for this. Um, in my
where-
This is the Bible, by the way. This is the game Bible. Holding in my hands.
I locked up all my notebooks so the dogs would need them, and I had a whole list of towns. Do I have it in here? I guess.
Okay.
Colville.
All right, I've figured it out.
Colville.
Oh, I was going to say Evenglade. What was the one you've got?
Even. No, Ardenter.
Can you type it into the chat for me, and so I can see it? And we can say these places are all close to each other or something like that. This is my one that I came up with. And I've got a little map for that place too. When I say little, it's very little. Dinter. Okay. So let us say then that, so you come from Dinter then, all right. So Dinter is a small hamlet close to Evenglade. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are
I'm
kind
trying to write down all these names.
Yep. I've thrown my ones into the chat, so there is a record. And I will actually open a document too to keep track of your business. New document. Okay, so Dinter near Evenglade. All right. Cool. So Evenglade is a place where you probably go quite often, every couple of weeks, perhaps, to the markets and so on, growing up. So let's start this storyline with you still quite young and maybe even living. So we have to really decide this now, I guess. So if she's at this point, she hasn't learned that she's a dragon. She hasn't learned anything. At this point in the story, she's just a girl. Okay. So this is a deep flashback to the beginning, the origins of Lyssa. This is Clark Kent. This is, what's his name? Not Clark Kent. I was going to say Spider-Man before he becomes Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
So she's going to be a dragon, not a past life dragon.
Yeah. That's what you want?
Yes, so she'll be a dragon.
Okay. All right. So it is important that we don't tell the other players these things because they will get pissy.
She is a silver dragon. Now that's a plot twist.
Right, exactly. And that plot twist needs to happen like if we keep playing for like a year from now or something like that. Like we've got to hold that close to our chest for a long time.
Yeah.
But you can use it to inform your character and how you play your character. So that's good. Even if if it does come out somehow, maybe the other players will be like, "Oh, she's mad. She thinks she's a dragon." You're like, "No, no, I'm a dragon." You could play it like that too. That could be a way of going.
I had dreams I'm flying in the sky.
Right, exactly. Okay, so this place, Dinter, near Evenglade, is deep in the forest, far to the north of Dagdagiel. And it's a small farming community surrounded by marshlands and swamps. Okay.
So it's a farming.
Yep.
I'm taking notes.
Great.
Near swamps.
Yep. And also don't forget I'm recording, so you can always go back and watch the video and take notes too. So that's a
How would they do that?
Oh, well, I'm going to upload the video to YouTube and I'll give you a link to it.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you a private
Near
link.
swamps. Turned into a small town near Everglades, forest, far north,
Yep.
wherever.
Oh, well, I think I called it Even Glade, just to be clear as well.
Yeah.
Okay, Even Glade. All right, so near Even Glade, there is a tower up in the woods, which once belonged to some kind of mage, possibly even an archmage, but that was a very long time ago. And at this point in our story, you have no idea that you're a dragon. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you come wandering into this town. Do we have you wandering into the town, or did you grow up in this town? Like, where do we start the story? Where do you want to start the story?
Started out in Denver, and I wander into Everglades.
Okay. All right. So did you have a family there? Did you have like human family or parents or people that treated you that way? Maybe you thought you did, and it turned out they were just babysitting you for the last 10 years, 20 years. Do you think? Or,
Caretakers?
yeah, right, like caretakers, exactly. They
They
don't,
know what I am, but they didn't tell me.
right, right. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. So your sire, Asterius, or whatever his name is, yep, Asterius, uh, they left you in this town with these caretakers, and you've grown up as a human. That makes a certain amount of sense, actually. And I think maybe she even cast a spell on you to make you think you were a human. So
Mm-hmm.
that's been a kind of a long-term spell that's been sort of placed on you, um, that at this point in the story is still very, very much intact. So you think you're a human, but you're discovering that you have these powers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give your caretakers, whom you think are your mum and dad, names. So
Um, Myra,
Myra and
Niall,
Niall. Nyal.
Niall.
Niall. Niall. Okay, cool. So Myra and Niall are your
It's an
care.
old Norse name.
Nice caretakers in what was the town you said it was?
Painter.
Dinter, right?
So they're just kind of skinny, hidden, low key.
All right. Cool. All right. Excellent. Okay, so you what do you spend your days doing as a kid? I mean, I guess if you live on a farm in a small town in the marshes, um, what kind of things can you do? You can learn farming, you can gather crops, sow seeds, tend to the farm and the farmlands. You could go hunting. You can practice archery. Um, you might have a few friends or even siblings. Do you think she has siblings? If she did have siblings, what if she has like a sister? Um, and as you grow up together, you and your sister begin to realize that you're different because you're starting to develop
Okay.
powers that your sister doesn't have. And so that leads to a certain amount of possibly intrigue, but also jealousy. Would that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give your sister a name. Um, and she's not your real sister, but she's the daughter of your caretakers. Um, can we call her Celessi?
Lyssa. Don't know how to spell it.
I'm not sure. SOLESSI.
SOL.
Yep, ESSI. Celessi.
SOLES.
ESS.
So let's see. I put an I at the end.
Yeah, that's what I did too. Yeah, yeah, with an I at the end. Cool. And we should probably give this family a last name. So we have Myra, Niall, and Celessi, um,
Niall.
Niall. Are you saying Niall is the last name, or that was the name of the father or the mother?
The father.
That's
The last name
I'm,
could be.
I was thinking of like Turnock or Tunock or no, that's too much like that town. Um, let me see.
Where is my book?
So anyone that's watching this now or in the future is going to get to see us brainstorming a character background, which is kind of fun. Um,
Where are my characters? Zoran.
how do you spell it?
Zoron.
Coron.
Would that work?
Zoron. Yep. Celessi Zoran. And we have Myra Zoran and Niall Zoran, as well as Lyssa, who I guess is going to use the name Zoran, at least for now, because she thinks she's one of
Okay.
them.
You know where the name Lyssa comes from, don't you?
I'm not sure. Where do you get it from?
Krill.
From where?
The movie Krill.
Oh, right. Wow. That is an old film. I tried to watch that again. I mean, I saw it in the 80s, and I was about six, I think, when it came out, 6 or 7. And I loved it then, but I tried to watch it more recently, and I was like, wow, this is dated a lot. It
It is.
has dated, but it's still a cool film.
It,
That
yeah, that's where I got
okay,
the name
lesson.
from.
Right. Awesome. Okay, so sister Celeste Zoran, father and mother Myra and Niall, um, her caretakers in the town of Dinter. Okay, cool. All right, so here's a little. Do you want to do a little bit of role playing? Do you want to get into it? Do you feel up to it yet, or do you want to bring up some more details? You want to describe her house, figure out who lives in the town. Does she have a favorite pet? Does she keep a
Well,
lamb?
she does come across. She does have that horse.
Does have that horse. Right, right. Okay. Well, this might be we could set her up now for that horse later by giving her a horse now that has some kind of story. Maybe it dies or something, and so she replaces it with this other horse that's the one she has, or it could be the same horse. I don't know. I'm trying to milk the most drama out of it. That's my objective.
Well, I always had it where she saved the horse from a red robe.
Okay.
He's a wild horse, or and he tried to, tried to tame him, tried to take the wild out of him.
Right.
And a wild horse, you can't take the wild out.
Right. Okay. Let me think about
And
that
she
because
saves him.
I'll try and think of a scenario in which that can happen. Um, at some point, we'll do that. Maybe today. We'll see. Um,
Torlin from the Shadowfell.
what?
Avery mentioned something about Torlin, the unicorn
Tozen.
god that
Tozen.
Tozan,
Right.
that the horse might be part of.
Right. Could be related to that. Yeah. Sorcerer, though. If you're a warlock, I would be more inclined to go down that road. Um, yeah. I don't want to get too complicated. We've already got dragons in your ancestry. I don't want to have dragons and unicorns. The unicorns are for the warlocks, and the dragons are for the sorcerers.
Okay, so he'll just be an ornery wild horse.
Yep. I mean, he could still be a special wild horse. Um, you know, he certainly will be. There will be love and friendship between you. I think that's a given, right? Yeah. Okay. And maybe there's a mystery behind it. Maybe there is some mystery, but I don't know what it is yet. So we'll see. Have to
You can make it up
leave
as
something.
you go.
Yeah, have to leave something to the
You,
imagination.
you can sense this danger or something, or re- you know.
No, I think that's fair. Okay.
I've had stories where he's rounded up the scouts' horses, and the companions are like, "You have extra horses. Where's the scouts?
Right.
We were
That's
watching scouts earlier."
wow. Okay, so let's say that you're in Dinton, and on this particular
Oops,
day,
sorry.
there's going to be the festival of the wheel is coming up shortly in Dinton, and you and your sister Celesi have been sent to Evenglade in order to purchase some supplies for your family, um, the Zoran family, whom you've been living with for the last while, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, you were given a wagon and a donkey to take along the road to Evenglade. And you and your sister are on the wagon, and you can start by making an animal handling check.
Animal handling check. Okay. Donkeys are extremely stubborn.
Yes, thus
21.
21. Well, it's not too stubborn for you, apparently. So you managed to, well, I don't know, maybe you've got a carrot on a stick. Does that really work?
A donkey. I don't know.
I
I
wonder if
guess this donkey today is cooperating.
this donkey is cooperating. Okay, so you're sitting on the wagon, heading along, bumping along the road with your sister, Salisi. Um, and Salisi is roundabouts your age, actually. They always called her your older sister, but you're a little bit taller than she is, and a little bit more mature in some ways as well. So that kind of the reason I'm saying that is because it calls into question your real background and how old you really are. Like, when were you actually born? They don't really know. All they know is they were given this kid when they were, a little child, and so they've nurtured you through the years. right?
Okay.
Okay. So at this point, no suspicion has really arisen, I suppose. You still think everything's sort of fine and dandy. Um, and you're heading along the road, and your sister's sitting next to you, and she's eating beans out of a bag. And she passes the bag to you, and she says, so what do you think Mother will want us to get in Evenglade for the Festival of the Wheel? Did she give you a list?
Yeah, I got a list of items we need to pick up.
And did she give you any money, sister?
Yes,
Oh, good.
of course.
I'd hate to get to Evenglade and then have nothing to spend and nothing and no food or. I mean, surely she gave us enough for a snack, yes?
A snack and a little extra.
Well, that's very good. All right, so can I get a perception check from you at this point? What did you get for your perception check?
11.
11. Okay. All right. Well, what I will also get is, you know what? I'll just do it myself for now. Oh my God. Why? Why did you do that? Hold on. I need to um, unhide you. Hide you. Okay, cool. That works. Okay, can you give me just in case an initiative roll, please?
Initiative. Initiative. Oh, what that? 12.
12. Okay, cool. All right. And I'm also gonna this me. Okay. All right, so you're rattling along the road, and at this point, the sun's high in the sky. It's mid morning, around about 11 bells by the time you get close to Evenglade. And you get to the top of this hill, and you're looking down into the valley, and you can see the town Evenglade in the marshes down there amongst the swamp. You can see some of the buildings and what have you, and you can see the fires, the smoke from various houses and chimneys and such like. A couple of farms around the place, and in the distance you can see the tower up on the hill that looks down over this place. Um, and as you approach through this way, suddenly, dun dun dun, an arrow comes flying out of the woods. um, what's your armor class?
My armor class. Where is it?
It says 15 here.
Yeah, it's 15.
15? Okay. Well, that arrow actually hits you and does
Oh,
3 points of damage. And I will get you to make a perception check. Actually, it could be an investigation check. Can you do that instead?
Damage, 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 work.
Right.
Damage, work. Why don't you want to work? Fine. 2, 3. And what am I supposed to do? Sorry.
So then an investigation check, please.
Investigation. Duck! Hide. 25.
25. Okay. You notice that the arrow that has struck you, and it probably just grazed you actually, because it only did 3 points of damage. It is a very short, thick arrow with heavy plumage on it, like the what do they call it? The feathers.
Feathers.
Yeah, big, thick feathers, heavily painted with black and red stripes. And what did you get? What did you say you rolled for your investigation?
25.
5. You actually recognize them as being belonging to a goblin tribe that you've heard live in this area, who have harassed these places for some time, on and off, over the time that you've been here. In fact, mostly stories from before the time you've been here, but you've seen one of these arrows. Your keeper, Niall, has one in the house and keeps it above the fireplace as a warning to remember it by. And it sticks into the wood next to you and grazes your arm or your leg or something, however you want to do it. And your sister immediately gets up and jumps off the wagon, and tries to. She tells you, pull over. We have to turn around. And she jumps off the wagon and tries to hide behind it so that she doesn't get hit by any arrows. At that point, another arrow comes flying in towards her, and misses her wildly. It just sticks into the side of the wagon. Donk. What do you do?
When we stop the wagon, I guess I get out and take cover with her.
Okay. All right. So you take cover behind the wagon.
Yeah.
Right. Can I have a perception check?
Perception check. It's a 5.
A 5. Okay. You hear your sister say, "I think I can hear them coming." Are they goblins?
Be quiet.
We have to get out of here. Do we run into the woods? Then you can hear this. What do you do? What do you do, Lyssa?
Shh. I tell her to be quiet. We slowly sneak into the woods.
Okay, do you want to make a stealth check, please?
Okay. Now watch me fail this.
Sound like Avery.
No, actually, I did
That's
good.
19. Very good. Okay. And I'm going to make a stealth check for your sister. Oh. Okay, so you get to the edge of the woods and you sneak behind the tree, and then your sister, She gets up and tries to sneak to where you are, Salisi. And as Salisi is moving towards you, she trips and falls. Ah! She cries out, grazing her leg as she lands. And then you hear, and then another couple of arrows come whizzing in from the side. The first one hits her for a 16,
Ouch!
injuring her for 3 points of damage. The second arrow swoops in. Oh, that's an 18 for 22. It does another 8 points of damage, and she is unconscious. Now, at that point, you've seen 3 goblins over the other side, but you're hiding. They haven't seen you. And you can see these 3 goblins coming down out of the woods towards the wagon, out of the sort of slopy hill full of trees and vines and long grass. They're kind of peering through there. You can see they've got war paint on them as they sneak through with their ragged-looking short bows, and you can see the red plumes of the arrows on their in their quivers. One of them has a jagged-looking short sword stuck through his belt. No scabbard, just kind of a rusty old blade. They start approaching your sister's body. One of them takes out a piece of rope, puts down his bow, and takes out a piece of rope and starts tying it around the girl's wrists behind her back. Now,
Well, I'm gonna find the nearest stick and I'm gonna run up to him and say, "Leave my sister alone."
All right, so you're going to go racing out and
I'm going to do what I naturally do. I'm going to be protective.
Right, fair enough. Okay, so you go racing out towards the first and closest goblin. Which one is this? One with the bow, one with the rope, or the one with the short sword?
Probably the one with the rope, because he's the nearest sewer.
That's fair. Okay, so you go charging out to attack him, and you can roll to hit, please. Now this this is just a stick, so just roll a d20, and we'll add your dexterity bonus to it.
Which one would that be?
I'll tell you. I can see it. It's +2. So your dexterity, yeah, you could just make a dexterity check.
Oh, okay, I see it.
Oh, that's a save, but okay. It's probably the same. Yeah, it is. Okay, so 17. All right, thwack! You hit him on the back of the head. And you can roll a d4 for damage for a stick.
A D4?
Yep.
I don't know where that is.
Okay, so you see the little red button in the bottom left corner of D&D Beyond?
Yeah.
It's like a 20-sided dice. And if you click on that, it pops up with a bunch of different dice. And the one at the very bottom is a D4, so you click that once and then click the roll button.
Okay. It says everyone's self.
Yep, to everyone. Yep. Okay, 3. All right, let me check that off. All right, he's injured. You whacked him and he turns around and looks at you. He drops the rope and starts going for a weapon. At that point, the next goblin charges towards you and tries to grapple you. So he's going to make a strength check, and you're going to make an athletics check.
Athletics. There you are. Oh, I'm not very good at this one.
A 7. Well, as it so happens, you did better than the goblin. So, because I rolled a 3. So you managed to break out of his grapple, which is good. And then the next goblin, finding that you're both in the way of each other, he moves over towards your sister's body. Now, she is currently bleeding out. And I'm going to ask you for a wisdom saving throw.
So I go up here to wisdom.
Yep.
That's the right one.
Let me see. Yep, wisdom save 21. Okay. You feel this strange calling in the back of your mind, this kind of rage that's being channeled into some deeper force within you. And it seems to be filling you with this strange energy that it feels natural to you, but yet it's kind of weirdly unfamiliar for some reason. You're kind of two minds about it. And in any case, what I would like you to do is, at this point, this is where you learn your first sorcery spell.
Okay.
You can choose like a level 1 spell that you might want to cast, and she will just do it intuitively, like out of nowhere. It just comes to her. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you like to choose? What would you like to cast? It needs to be a level 1 spell or a cantrip. Could be a cantrip. Cantrip's pretty useful in this situation, actually. In fact, maybe we should start with cantrips and build our way up.
Ray of Frost.
Perfect. All right, so you're going to cast Ray of Frost. Can you roll to hit with your Ray of Frost, please? 16, that hits. All right, and are you still going for the same goblin or a different goblin? This is the one that's charging to you, isn't it?
The one charging.
All right, so let's roll your Ray of Frost damage and tell me, do I need to make a saving throw or anything?
Frigid being takes damage reduced. He reduces speed by 10 feet.
Okay, so it slows him down, so he's not getting to her as fast. Okay, and then you roll your damage with that, I think. Ray of Frost, if I'm not wrong. I'll just double check it. Spells. Ray of Frost. Yep, so that's crikey, 2d8 damage. Can't be right. Yep, 2d8. Wow, that's massive. A frigid beam.
Pretty powerful for a young thing.
All right, so what'd you get for your to hit roll?
8.
An 8. Okay, that one glances off the floor. It's the first time you've ever cast it, so it doesn't hit him, unfortunately, but that's okay. But you are quite surprised, and that I think that's the other thing too, is this is the first time you've ever cast the spell that you're aware of, and so when you do it, you kind of surprise yourself. You know, you didn't know you were capable of that. You didn't know where it came from or how it worked. Now, Lyssa is still asleep, still unconscious, and so the next goblin draws his scimitar and comes towards you to attack you. He hits you.
Ow.
That is 6 points of damage from that goblin. Now, at this point, we're using your character's actual hit points just because part of the reason for that is this is a flashback. So there are certain rules about flashbacks. One of them is the player character can't die. Otherwise, that would complicate things narratively in the long run. Okay, so you take 6 points of damage. You done that?
No, it's being difficult to get.
Difficult. Do you want me to do it? I can do it quickly if you like.
Wait a minute.
6.
1,
Oof.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got it.
You got it? Okay. All right. So at that point, it's now the next goblin's attempt to do something. So this one is going to try and grapple you again, trying to grab you from behind. So he's making a strength check. You make an athletics check. You have to beat a 4. 14. Okay, no worries.
Oh, good.
Surprisingly,
make it a good kick-in.
Surprisingly strong for a young girl at this point. All right, Lyssa, your turn. You can do another Ray of Frost if you wish. having done it
Yeah,
once, you kind of surprised yourself. You probably want to do it again.
look at my hand and say, I'm going to try it again.
Right. Roll to hit. 12. This one blasts into the shield of one of the goblins, the one with the sword, and dissipates off the front of the shield, leaving this kind of chunk of ice on the front of his shield. He looks down at it and goes, "Ah!" I'm going to make a check to see whether he is scared of you at this point, because that's reasonable that he might be suddenly afraid, realizing that you're some kind of mage or something. So he's going to make a wisdom saving throw, which he fails. So Goblin A is attempting to run at this point. He begins to flee. Now, you've still got a stick in your hand, so you can take an opportunity attack as he moves past you. So you can try and whack him with the stick if you like. Just roll a d20 and or make a dexterity ability check.
Dexterity.
Yep.
Let's try that one.
Okay, that sadly it misses him. And he goes running to the bushes and attempts to hide there. Can you make a perception check, please?
Perception.
4. Okay, yeah, he dives into the woods, and you've got too much going on around you right now to be paying attention to where he's gone.
I got 2 other goblins.
Right. The next goblin grabs Lyssa and begins to sort of try and pull her up over him to use her like a shield. Right. So that's what he's doing. He's struggling with her body. She's quite heavy compared to him. Goblin B stands in front of you and he says,
"Give us your money, girl, or you die, you and your sister."
No.
"Then you die. Kill her,"
he says to the other goblin. The other goblin moves to kill her. What do you do?
I am going to try and save her.
Yeah.
He's got her thrown over his shoulder.
Well, she's not over his shoulder. He's hiding under her. He's sort of picked up the front of her. She's sitting on the ground with her butt on the ground, and her torso is kind of upright, like she's sitting up, and he's behind her, using her torso as a shield, and her head, obviously.
So he's hiding, so she can't use Ray of Frost.
He's trying to, yeah. That's kind of the idea. And he's got a dagger in one hand, which he's bringing up to her throat.
I gotta somehow distract him from her.
I'll give you a minute to think about that.
No. Take me instead. Leave her alone. I got the money. Come and get me.
Can you make a...
She's worthless.
Let's make a persuasion check. Very good. 17. Okay, so the goblin in front of you with the sword, he says,
"Drop your stick. No tricks."
Drop.
Okay, the other goblin, at that point, slits Lyssa's throat.
You!
The other one steps towards you and tries to grapple you again. Other athletics check.
Oh, he is so dead.
6. Well, that still beats my 4. I've rolled 3 4s or something for these strength checks. Shocking. Okay, so you managed to avoid his grapple. I'm still quite shocked at that. And it's your turn. What would you like to do?
The only thing I know right now is Ray of Frost, unless they suddenly discover
Do you
I
have?
can do something.
Okay, let's have a look at
I
your.
have,
Let's have a look at
I
your.
have Mind Silver and
Mine's
Shocking Gas.
shocking grasp. Magic
Go
missile.
away.
That's a bit high. You know what you could do is you could possibly we could say that you cast uh,
Well, I'm angry now, so I'm angry and upset. You just slit my sister's throat.
right. What you could drop an ice knife on him, or you could just not Eldritch Blast, Ray of Frost him again. It seems like the obvious thing. That way we can draw it out.
Ice knife, ice knife.
You want to use ice knife? Okay, so that's a +7 to hit on your spell tab.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's roll to hit. Ice knife was a 16 to hit. That
Yeah.
hits. Okay, so now you do the damage for ice knife. That's the 1d10 button. Cool. Now, which goblin is this on? Is this the one holding the dead body of your sister, or is this the commanding one?
Who's closer to me right now?
Closer to you would be the commander because he's just tried to grapple you.
I'll take him first, and then I'm gonna go after the other one.
All right, so in that case, what happens is that this shard of ice comes down from above him and it just slams into him and decimates him entirely. He's completely dead. So you did 9 points of damage. He had 7 hit points, so it splatters him. And then on a hit, the target takes a d10. Hit or miss, the shard then explodes. The target and the creature within 5 feet of it, any creatures within 5 feet of it must succeed on a dex save. Okay, I mean, just for the sake of fun, I'm going to give the other goblin a dexterity saving throw to see if he can get out of the way of that. He does. That's a 17 plus quite a few. So he manages to avoid the exploding ice knife. It blasts into pieces in a very sharp and radiant pattern that flies off from its initial point of impact. Okay, then that goblin gets up, having just murdered your sister. He starts running for the woods. He gets to about, well, he's moving quite quickly because he's gonna dash. So he moves 60 feet, I think. Let me just double check how fast goblins can go. Yep, he can move 60 feet as if he dashes. So he's running like hell, and he's going to try and hide in the woods. You can make a perception check. Your DC is 14. You lose him in the woods.
Oh man.
Okay, but you killed one, and now 2 have gotten away. One at the start, and then this one. And you're there with your sister, and she's lying on the ground, bleeding out. And she looks up at you as she's seems to be dying right now. Help me! Would you like to make a medicine check?
Yeah. Medicine.
Oh no. Oh dear. Okay,
I can't
so
save her.
you can't save her. Unfortunately, Selisi dies in your arms on the road to Evenglade. And that's the first little episode of your story, right? So that's a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
a character arc. So what do you do with that? Like, are you gonna? How do you proceed after she's died on the road? What do you do? Do you sit with her for a while? Do you?
I sit with her, cry, blame myself. I couldn't do more.
Fair enough. Okay, so time passes, maybe an hour, um, and at the end of that hour, you can make a perception check. Unless you want to do anything during that hour besides, mourning the loss of your sister, which seems like the obvious thing to do. Hmm.
Well, mourn my sister. I got to get her back on the wagon and turn around and head back to Dinter.
Right. Um, so you're going to turn the wagon around, are you? That's the plan. You're going to try and put her back on the wagon. It might get you to make an athletics check to lift her onto the wagon. See how that goes.
I guess I got to give it a try.
Yeah, for sure. Um, do you want to come into roll 20, and I can put some music in there too?
Music.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
That is totally the wrong music. No, stop. Stop. Where's the stop button? Ah, ah, ah. That was terrible. Okay, never mind. Okay, so cool. What did you roll for your athletics?
A 7.
A 7. Okay, so you're struggling with her body and you're heaving with sorrow all at the same time. So it's obviously a very difficult thing. And at this point, you're both kind of covered in her blood. And you've still got a wound on your leg from where you were shot before. Um, and did you make a perception check?
I can do another one.
Yep.
A 2.
Two from a natural one. Okay, well, all of a sudden, as you're heaving with her body, trying to get her up onto the back of the wagon, um, you hear a voice from behind you. "What's going on here?" says a man's voice.
We were attacked by goblins. They killed my sister.
You turn around and realize that the man standing there is a local ranger named Aldith, and he is from Evenglade. I'll give you a chance to make a note if you wish.
Oh, the ranger. He's from. Okay.
He says, "You say you were attacked by goblins. Is she alive?" He comes over quickly at this point.
No, she is passed. I could not save her. I tried.
When was this? How long ago was this?
About an hour ago. The goblins ran off into the forest. I managed to kill one of them.
He says, "I shall track the goblins. Perhaps you should take her body into town. Evenglade is closer than your home. Head into Evenglade and find the cleric the cleric of the Seldarine there. And you might know her. Let's see. Her name is Elswith." Yeah. Soldering Evenglade. What did I say the ranger's name was?
Aldous?
Aldous. Okay, cool. All right. So, yeah, that's what he says to you. He says, "Go, girl, go before they come back."
Can you help me put her in first?
He takes the body and lifts her up onto the back of the cart for you and lays her down. And then he picks you up and puts you on the cart in the front, and hands you the reins. And then he taps the butt of the horse so that it starts the donkey, to get it right, to get it going. Okay, and then clippity clop, you head off. I'll get an animal handling check.
Oh, let's see if he's still cooperating.
Right.
He's a little upset.
He's a little upset. How upset is that?
16.
Oh, that's
16.
That could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, really. Okay, so despite his not being a little bit confused and upset, yeah, he obeys you and marches the cart into the town of Evenglade. And as you head into Evenglade, what are you looking like right now? Are you covered in tears? Are you? I mean, you're covered in blood, so there's that.
Yeah, I'm covered in tears and blood.
Right.
Hair's disabled.
Right. Okay, so as you head into the town, various people see you and they start uh, calling out to you. Lyssa, Lyssa, is that you? Are you all right? One of the ladies from inside the tavern. There's a very small little tavern here. Comes wandering over to you. Lyssa? Her name is Senny.
No, I'm not all right. We encountered goblins on the way here, and I tried to protect my sister, but they killed her anyway.
She says,
I really tried.
I want to give you inspiration for that great performance. That's awesome. Cool. Okay, so she says to you, we must quickly to the cleric. But Elswith can help her. Maybe she's not gone yet."
Okay.
She starts pulling the horse in that direction by the bridle. Um, and you get over to the small little temple over at the side of the. It's more like a shrine than a temple. And nearby, that's where Elswith lives in a town, in a house, more like a hut, a farming house. Not far from there, you can see it, sort of walking distance from the shrine, and you can see her figure in the field besides the shrine. And you get to the point where the cart won't go any further because there's a fence. And Senny says, "Come on, I'll carry her over the fence to the cleric." All right, so she picks up Salisi's body and carries her and climbs over the sty into the field on the other side and starts walking through the grass towards towards Elswith. Are you with her?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And as you get across the field, in what's quite bright, warm sun right now, Elswith turns from what she's doing, where she's busy picking some herbs and things from some plants, and she turns and puts the last thing in her bag and looks up at this, and then she comes running over to you. Lyssa, what's wrong? Are you all right? What happened to Salisi?
Goblins
Put
came
her
out.
down right now.
They attacked us.
So
They cut her, killed Lissy. They killed Sissy.
Seni puts Celesi's body down, Celesi's body down on the grass, and the cleric kneels down by her and puts her hands on her, and tries to heal her. And after a minute or so, she, in fact, you know what? You can make a perception check. No,
5.
5. Okay. You notice the light changes slightly in that moment, and it sort of feels like a sign to you, but it gets slightly darker as the clouds cover the first sun. Um, and she looks up at you, and she looks like she's very concerned, and she just shakes her head. I'm sorry, Lyssa. I can't save her. She's moved on. We're gonna have to tell your family.
It's all my fault. I couldn't protect her. I tried so hard to protect her.
Goblin.
It's all my fault.
Oh gods. What will we do? We're gonna have to take you back to your home. Are the goblins still out there? How many?
There was 2. There were 3 of them. I killed one of them.
You killed one. How did you kill a goblin?
Just out of nowhere. Plus ice.
Really?
I smashed him with ice.
You smashed him with ice. Elswith and Seni look at each other at that moment, and they share a glance that, you know what, you can make an insight check.
23.
23. They both think you're a bit mad right now. You can tell. They're looking at each other like, what the hell is she talking about? What nonsense is this? A shard of ice? What? No. They don't believe you. So, and they have good reason, to be fair, but, nobody's expecting you to turn out to be a dragon or even a draconic sorcerer.
Think I'm crazy.
Yep. She says to you, and she puts her hand on your face as she says, "Did they hurt you? Did they touch you?"
I just got a little cut on my leg.
She looks down at that and she casts Cure Wounds and heals you to maximum hit points. She says, "In the name of Carlon the Rathian and Sahanine Moonbow of the Saldarine, heal this girl, for she is deeply wounded now. She needs your help, my lord and lady. Bring her the light." And there's this slight flash of light that comes from her hand, and you feel your wounds closed. You feel much better, at least physically better. Emotionally, still scarred for life.
Thank you, my lady. Thank you.
And I'm afraid it's all I can do. I will look after Celesi. We will have to take her back to your home in Dinton. We should take her to the tavern, and we should find some of the townsfolk to come with us in case there are any more goblin attacks on the way. We do not want to make this into a double tragedy.
There was a ranger who came up behind us. You said his name was Aldous.
You met
He was going to track the goblins down.
Well, if Eldith is already doing that, that is a good start. Perhaps we should wait until he returns, and then we can take your sister back home. Maybe we can find one of the other townsfolk to act as a messenger. So she picks up Celesi in her arms carefully, and begins to carry her back towards the town of Evenglade from the shrine across the field back to the fence. The two ladies, Elswith and Senny, the tavern keeper, assist lifting her over the fence and getting you over the fence as well, because you're quite young at this point in the story. And they walk you guys back to the tavern. It doesn't even have a name. It's such a small tavern, it doesn't even have a name. It's just the tavern. And it's pretty primitive too, I might add. They don't have like bars and taps and stuff like that. It's just, here's some ale out of a barrel. We'll pour it into your cup, a wooden cup sort of thing. And you've probably eaten here maybe 2 or 3 times in your whole life, when your parents have come to this town on occasion, and you've come to market. It's the best thing about going to market is getting to go to the tavern for dinner, or some celebration. And you'll also notice that there are various preparations going on in Evenglade for the Festival of the Wheel, which is coming up. And on the far side of the town, you can see a large wheel being constructed by some carpenters. In any case, they take you into the tavern. Why don't you sit here for a minute? I need to go and talk to some people.
Okay.
All
May
right.
I have a cup of tea?
Of course you can, of course. And she organizes for you to have a cup of tea, and they get you some bread and some soup. And outside it begins to sprinkle with rain as the afternoon begins to wear on now. When she comes back, she says, now, we've organized to have Celessi taken back to your home in a wagon. Would you like to go with, or would you like to go separately?
Yeah.
Very well.
I'll go with.
I will come with you, says Elswith. So it will be you and me, Celessi, and we're hoping that when Aldith gets back, he will come with us too. So we'll wait a little while before that.
Okay.
Very good. All right. So as you're sitting in the tavern, and the food's coming out, and you get your soup and your bread, and you're munching it down, and you can see various people around you, and various townsfolk come over to you and express their condolences to you. Some of them more or less kind of kindly. There's some codgerly old men that live in this town, so they don't know how to be, too. They're not good at this sort of thing, but they sort of come over to you and, sorry about your sister. I heard that you had a great loss today. You'll be all right. Keep your chin up. Things like that. And some of the others are a bit more kind and what have you. One of the children from the town comes in, and she comes over to you and she says, I'm sorry about your sister. And you might have seen this girl around, but you don't remember her name. You might have played with her a while ago, but it was certainly a couple of years back, last time you were at the fair. I want to give you this. And she holds out this necklace. It's quite a plain looking necklace, but the little piece at the bottom of it, this little locket at the bottom of the necklace, is a little bit interesting. So it's not super valuable or anything, but it's quite nice. You can tell me what you think it is. You can decide what the deal is with that. It could be empty, or it could have an old painting, like people used to paint pictures of each other and stick them in these things. So it could be something like that, or it could be some other thing.
A locket.
Just a locket. She just wants to give you a gift, basically, something to help make you feel better, although she doesn't realize it's probably not going to work because you just lost your sister. So, all right.
Thank you. Thank you for the locket.
That's okay. Yeah, Mum and Pa and Mama say they're very sorry too. Um, if you ever need somewhere to go, you can come to us. Um, I'm sure you'll be okay though. Are you going home today?
I'll be leaving with my sister.
Sorry again. And she turns and heads off. Um, Another kid comes and gives you a piece of cake.
Thank you.
They don't know any better.
Not really interested.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
fair enough.
really interested in it. Accept it graciously.
Right. Well, eventually, Elswith comes back to you with Aldith. And Aldith comes in. Actually, let's go back a little bit. Aldith comes walking in with a bag in his hand. And you can make a perception check. He's got his bow over his shoulder, his weapon at his side, his cloak cast back over one shoulder. And your perception check
21.
is 21. You notice that he's carrying a bag. That's like a sack, and in that something in that sack is leaking badly. It's soaked with red fluid, dry, dark, browny red fluid, probably blood of something. In fact, it might not even be red. It might be kind of more of a dark shade, like a black, more ichorish. Does that make sense? He looks over at you when he comes in. There you are. He steps towards you and he says, "Their heads." I know it brings you little comfort. He puts the bag down on the table in front of you. Do with these as you will. I'll gift them to you. Elswith says, "You can't give the girl the heads of the goblins that killed her sister." He looks at her and he looks back at you and he says, "I can give them to her, and she may take them. That's between her and the goblins. I have nothing to say. I only make the offer." He puts them there. He says, "I'll meet you at the wagon. We'll be leaving in a few minutes." And he turns around and walks back out. Elswith comes over to you and she's like, "You don't need to touch those filthy heads. You should probably throw them away. Give them to me and I will get rid of them for you if you wish." So here is a decision point.
Yeah. No, I'm going to take them with me, my family, and I will decide what to do with them.
She shakes her head a little bit and, well, I suppose, as Aldith said, it is between you and the goblins. I'll leave it to you then. And yes, you're right. Perhaps your family should see these. It might give them some comfort. What little comfort that will bring, I don't know, but one can hope. I suppose we should be on our way then. All right, so you head back out to the wagon, you get on the wagon, and you take this fairly uneventful journey all the way back to Dinton, which is like a 2-hour wagon ride. And you go past the spot where this all happened. As you get to that spot, I might get you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom. There you are, way up there.
Ooh, that's a 20. Okay. As you're passing the spot, obviously everything that's just happened, all of that trauma comes back to you. But you're able to handle it. But you do have that rising sense of magic flooding through your veins again. The sense of injustice and pain and desire to put things right. It could manifest as an outburst of a spell or not. That's up to you. I would totally allow that if that was something you wanted to do.
I can accidentally discharge a ray of frost.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Like
Where do you?
towards a tree.
Towards a tree.
Like towards the spot on the ground or something.
All right. Okay, so you fire off this ray of frost at the location, the last location you saw that goblin, I suppose, or something like that, scorching the ground with this frostbite. Your two companions, Elswith, she oddly enough doesn't notice, but the ranger turns around and looks at you. Stop the wagon. And Elswith stops the wagon and she says, "What's the matter?" He says, "This girl just discharged magic. I saw it with my own eyes." He steps off the wagon. "Have you ever done that before, young lady?"
Yes, I did it when the goblins attacked.
Was that the first time?
Yes.
"You might want to keep that little secret to yourself, m'lady," he says. "There are some in these parts who wouldn't look kindly upon it. They might think you're a witch. But you do have some power." Elswith looks and she says, "What did she do?" "Why don't you show Elswith what you did? Can you do it again?"
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you discharge another ray of frost.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, Elswith sort of sits back. "My goodness, how did she learn this? Where did this come from?" "Well, she just told me she did this the first time was just a few hours back when the goblins attacked them. Here, we should move on." She starts the cart up again, and as you travel, the pair of them talk to you about this. "So what does it feel like when you cast that spell? Where did it come from?"
From inside me. It's like an energy that builds up and just needs to come out of me.
Elspeth says to you, "Do you have a book with a spell in it anywhere? Did you read this spell?"
No.
"And when you were attacked by the goblins, and I know this is a sore topic for you right now, but it is important, did you pray to any gods?"
No. All I was thinking about was protecting my sister.
"And no strangers appeared before you willing to make some sort of deal or pact?"
No. I was by myself and my sister.
And the magic just welled up inside and came out. These
Yes.
two look at each other kind of carefully for a moment. You can make an insight check. 8. Okay, you're a bit young, so you probably don't sort of figure what's going on between them, but there's a moment that passes between them where they're exchanging a glance, but you don't know what it means. In any case, you head on back to the house. And as you are riding into Dinton, at this point it's getting dark. The first sun has set already, and the second sun is approaching the horizon, casting these mauve hues across the landscape. You can see the low-hanging trees of the marshes around, and you can see out to the edge of the valley on either side. And as you get there, you can see Niall out chopping wood near the farmhouse with an axe. And Myra comes stepping out of the front of the house as you approach. "What's all this then?" she says as she comes out. "What's going on?" And Elswith gets off the wagon and she says, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We have terrible news." And Myra looks at you. "Where's your sister?" At this point, she's laying in the back of the wagon, covered with cloth.
So sorry. I really tried to protect her. The goblins came. I really tried, Mama. I tried hard.
Myra falls to her knees in front of you and bursts into tears. Niall comes walking in your direction, still holding the axe in one hand. "What's going on?" Your mother, Myra, turns to him now, tears streaking down her face. She says, "Salisi's gone." And she just bawls. And Niall comes over to you and he's like, "Where is she? What happened to her?"
Goblins. Goblins tried to rob us.
"Goblin."
I tried to protect her.
"Oh, gods, no. No, not Salisi. No."
I'm sorry. I tried so hard.
Elswith looks up at them and she makes a prayer. She says, "We should go inside to talk about this. There's more." The other two look at you and look at her, and Aldith takes out an old pipe that he has in his pack and begins packing it with some tobacco or something like that, some leaves. And they head inside your house into the main room. There's not a lot of rooms in these houses in this time. It's all kind of open plan. And there's a fire pit, sort of a cross between a fire pit with a chimney and a fireplace, something to that effect. There's an old stove. It's all been there for centuries, from generation to generation. It's been handed down. And they stoop as they step into the house itself. And there's for quite a while, everyone sits quietly while Myra and Niall sort of start coming to terms with things. Elswith and the ranger Eldith try to comfort them, get them hot water and bring them some food, but neither of them are particularly hungry. They try to feed you. Do you have a dog or a goat or a cat or a bird or some sort of pet here? No? Okay. All right. So nothing like that. Cool. Eventually, after quite a bit of mourning, Elswith choosing her moment, she says to Niall and Myra, "We need to talk about," and she looks at you, "Lyssa." "What about Lyssa?" "What happened, Lyssa?" says your mother. "Myra, tell us what happened. Tell us how she went." Elswith says, "That's not so important. What is important is that your girl here is some sort of channeler. She's got magic." "That's not true. That's not possible," says Myra. And she and Niall cast a glance at each other. You can make another insight check.
10.
10. Again, something going on between them. You think you can detect some sort of deception, but it doesn't seem like they're trying to hurt anyone with it. It's more like deception for the sake of protection.
Mm-hmm.
And Niall says to you, "Is that true, Lyssa? You have magic?"
Yes, sir.
"What kind of magic is it? Where'd it come from?" Elswith says, "I think we should talk, you and I, you and your mother. Well, wait, your mother and your father with me alone." And your mother says to you, Why don't you go outside with Aldith here for a few minutes while we have a chat?
Okay.
So
Am I
Aldith,
in trouble?
no, Lyssa, no, not in trouble. But you can make another insight check.
A 10.
Man, you keep rolling tens. Okay, so again, you can't. Too young to know what these adults are thinking or saying to each other. You don't get the subtext, unfortunately. But Aldith takes you outside. He says, "Do you like candy?" He goes rummaging through one of his pouches, pulls out this bit of floss that he has. This, I don't know, some sort of hard candy actually. The sort of like boiled hard candy. I got this on my travels. It cost a silver piece. Would you believe that? A silver piece. I'm going to give it to you. No?
No.
I'm sorry about what happened. I think you must have done your best.
I tried. I really did. I wish I hit that with goblin.
Well, I caught those two brutes and I ran them down. And I took their heads. Looks at you. Is there anything I can do for you?
I really have magic in me. How do I learn to use it?
It's a very good question, and I'm hoping Elswith is going to come up with an answer for that. Because, well, the truth is, the last sorcerer we had in these parts wasn't a very nice fellow. And he had magic a bit like yours, but he took a bad turn with it. He chose to use it for collecting power and wealth and money and such. And then he went off to the south, leaving us for a long time. When he came back, he was wearing red robes. Did a lot of damage, that fellow. In the end, we cast him out, but it took a lot. And he always swore that the Bar Kyle would come back for us. So far, they never did. So, thank the gods. We don't want to see any more of the likes of him. So I hope you're not like him. Don't go that way,
I
love.
never do that. I never do that.
You want to use your powers to protect people, help.
Yes.
Good girl.
Help people so they don't hurt people like they hurt my sister.
Exactly. He looks over his shoulder and, so are you scared of those goblins?
A little bit, sir.
Stands to reason. I'm going to give you something. Don't tell your parents about this, all right? Don't tell nobody about this. And he goes into his belt and he pulls out this very elaborate looking dagger in a scabbard. He says, this was made by the elves. It was given to me once. It was a long time ago. Circumstances were not too different from this one. My papa died. Wasn't goblins though, but nonetheless, much the same sort of situation. I'd like you to have this. This dagger, it will tell you if anyone's coming. It'll keep you safe of danger. So out of game, what it is it's a dagger of warning, which is an item that you can add to your character sheet.
Dagger warning.
Yep. I don't know if it requires attunement, but I'll have a look. Let's have a look here. Into inventory. Add items. Dagger of warning. Yep. Okay. It does require attunement. Yeah. So
That's
the magic
fine.
weapon warns you of danger. While the weapon is on your person, you have advantage on initiative rolls. That's pretty handy. So you get to roll twice for initiative. In addition, you and any of your companions within 30 feet of you cannot be surprised except when incapacitated by something other than non-magical sleep. The weapon magically awakens you and your companions within range if any of you are sleeping naturally when combat begins. So that's useful.
Yeah. Add it to it. I can't find it.
Oh, I can add it for you.
Okay.
I'll add it to your equipment. There it is. So just
All right.
refresh your
Thank
character
you.
if you need to. So now you've got a dagger
Right.
+1 and a dagger of warning. You know what we could do is we could make the dagger of warning +1.
Okay.
Let's see if I can do that. Customize to hit override to hit bonus +1. And where do I save that? Yep, that's already there.
My flashlight come off.
I'm going to call it Eldith's Blade.
Okay.
Because that's what it is. It's Eldith's Blade.
Yeah, it is.
So let's go to actions, inventory, Eldith's Blade, connect that. So, okay, here's the deal. If you do not attune to it, it does not act as a weapon of warning. But if you do, but it does have its +1. It will work as a +1 dagger. If you're not attuned to it. If you choose to attune to it, which takes an hour, you have to unattune something else, and then you can use it as a dagger of warning.
Yeah, I can unattune the ring in invisibility.
Cool. Okay.
Because that way I can switch them in and out.
Right.
And attunement, I don't see. Where is my deck equipment? There's my dagger. Attunement. Dagger.
Why is it not giving me the thing? And 1 damage as well.
It just says dagger warning. This is the older.
Dagger of warning +1. Okay.
Well, it has a little triangle now.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Now, if I roll it, it says +1. Why does it only say +1? Oh, I see why. It's gone down to that, so I need to customize it again. Let me have a look at this. That one doesn't have any mods on it. Damage 1d4 +3. Where is it? Melee, 5 foot 20, 60, 1d4 plus 3 damage. Piercing, weight, properties. Display as an attack. Dual wield. This is interesting. Customize this. So it would typically be a +5. Let's see. Okay, so now it's the same as the plus. Oh no, it needs to be +6. Customize 6. 6. Come back here. Come back here. There we go. Okay, so now, yes. Okay, so it's a Eldith's Blade. Oh, and I spelt it wrong. It doesn't help.
And refresh my page. Ah, yeah, there it is. You spelled Aldous with an A, and I spelled.
Right. Okay. So now it's in your stats. Haha. Cool. And it rolls with a +6 now. Excellent. So Ray of Frost is still a little bit better. In fact, it's quite a lot better because it does 2d8 worth of damage. That's quite a lot of damage for a cantrip. I'm amazed, actually. To read that again.
My rate of frost.
Why does it do 2d8? That is weird. That doesn't make sense. 2d8. Cold damage, speed reduces, spells damage increase when you reach. Oh, okay. It's doing 2d8 because you're level 8. Right, that makes sense. Okay, so at 5th level it went up to 2d8. That's awesome. Okay, so technically at this point in the story you wouldn't have that, but I think that the mechanics of a flashback need to work in such a way that you have a chance to survive everything, otherwise your character will end up dying. So we'll just make sure that you have enough power to get through things that you need. All right. So, long story short is that everything sort of goes back to normal after a few days. I mean, not normal; it will never be normal. But there is a funeral held for your sister, and all of Dinton turn up, and quite a lot of people from Evenglade turn up, including Elswith and Eldith. What's his face? Eldith. And you see the little girl that gave you the locket as well. And so the funeral, they bury her out in the fields, out in this spot where people have been buried for, a long time. I guess it's a graveyard. Yeah, so there's this whole thing going on, and Elswith, being the cleric, she performs a ceremony, and yeah, it's something. It seems to be out of game. It's a kind of elven ceremony, actually, that they learned from the elves when the humans came to this world, and it's been passed down along with a few human traditions that have been woven into it. So it's kind of a hybrid performance. And then after the ceremony, after they take her out and they bury her, do they bury her or do they burn her? What do you reckon?
Back then I thought they burn them. I don't know the elven tradition.
Right. Well, it depends, really. I mean, there's a number of things they could do. They could, really primitive peoples will, stick them up in a tree and wait for the insects and grubs to get them.
Oh, no.
Right. Other people might, I mean, the Mayans used to keep their bodies underneath their houses until they mummified.
No.
Probably no. So burial is pretty obvious. Probably, I mean, a funeral pyre might be relevant. So they could build a big stack of wood and what have you, and put her on top of that with some hay bales and so on, and then set it all aflame with some oil, um, and maybe send a few things with her that were her possessions or something like that. How does that sound? Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I'll give her some flowers.
All right.
Just some flowers.
So the funeral goes along without too many major hitches, and various people from the extended family and the two towns nearby come and visit and bring gifts and things to your family, and lots of flowers, and even a couple of animals like a goat, and a few gifts like that might be useful to them. Um, and there's a lot of crying and a lot of mourning and that sort of thing. And as the day goes past, you're left out in the field, by yourself, near the point where her near her funeral pyre. The fire is burnt out now, and there's nothing left. It's just embers on the ground in a kind of pit, um, about a mile away from your house. Um, and at this point, I don't know, would you be there by yourself? I'm wondering about that, because after the goblin attack, maybe you're a bit more cautious.
Who would be with me?
Would you, I mean, I don't know, what would you like to do after the funeral?
That's just. I say I have a favorite spot, like a favorite tree I like to sit under,
Okay.
just a little ways from the cabin or the house.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and cry.
Okay. So you're sitting there and you're crying, and you can make a perception check through your tears. If I was mean, I would say do it with disadvantage, but because I'm not being mean, I'm going to let you roll normally. What did we get there? An 18. All right. So as you're sitting there crying, you see a figure approaching through the forest nearby, standing on the edge of the glade. Um, it appears to be a beautiful woman with long platinum blonde hair, um, with glistening jewels and jewelry and armor. She watches you for a minute, and you hear a voice in your head. Lyssa, Manu.
Yes. How do you know my name?
I know a lot of things about you. The time has come for you to leave this place.
Why do I have to leave?
You're changing now. You're growing. It is
What
the
do you mean I'm chasing you?
Your powers have begun to manifest. For you, you may see that as a strength, but it is also a danger. Mortals do not like others with power, especially power they cannot control.
You said mortals, but I am human.
Yes, you are human, she smiles. You make another insight check. 13. Okay, well, the way she says it leaves the question open. You have Very special blood, Lyssa. You may remember the story of when you were found by your parents. When they brought you here when you were young. Just a baby. You probably do not remember that. But you didn't come from
No.
here. They found you.
I don't remember.
No, I don't suppose you do. She walks over and kneels down in front of you. She says, how did it feel to channel the magic?
The truth?
Of course, only the truth between you and me.
It felt wonderful.
I can only imagine that you would like more of that taste.
I like to learn how to control it, to protect those that can't protect themselves.
When your power awokened, I was called to this place.
How can that be? Are
I'm
we
connected to
related?
you might say that we are. She looks at you. At this point, it's getting dark, and the moons are on the horizon, shedding their marbled light down through the forest into this grove that you're in. It's dangerous for you to be out here by yourself. After all, you were by yourselves when the goblins attacked, weren't you?
Yes.
Show me your power. Do you see that stone there?
Yes.
See if you can destroy it. Or at the very least, encase it in ice.
Okay.
What do you do?
Would be ray of frost.
Okay, roll to hit. The stone's armor class is 8.
14.
Okay, so give me some damage for that ray of frost.
9.
So you obliterated. All right, you
Oh,
freeze it up, and then it just cracks. The coldness of it causes it to fracture into various pieces, and it splits apart, covered in this kind of hoary ice frost on the outside of it. Falls apart. And this lady looks at you and she says, that is very impressive. Very impressive, Lyssa. You will do well. Do you want to live here forever?
no. I want to learn. I want to see what else was out there. See the rest of the world.
Would you like to come with me to Dagdagiel?
Where is Dagat? Dagat. No.
To the south, near the sea. It's an old, old city. huge, like a fortress. It has many walls and many moats and many castles within. It's
Will I
dangerous.
learn?
Oh, I will teach you as we travel. We will do many things together if you come with me, Lyssa. Or
What about what will happen with Myra and Niall?
well, they will stay here and they will continue their lives. They will grow old. They will live comfortably. I'm sure they will mourn the loss of their daughters.
How will
We can come back and
they
visit them.
explain my? Okay.
You can tell them that your training will fit you better for their protection and the protection of others.
Okay. Then I will come with you.
Splendid. She says, my name is Astarius.
Asteri.
And you might say that, in a certain sense, I am closer to you in family and in blood than either Niall or Myra. Now, I suggest that you go back to the house and you take what you can find that you might need and want to bring, and you meet me by the road before midnight. If you want to say goodbye, it will complicate things, but that's up to you.
I don't have anything.
We can just go now then, if you wish.
Okay.
You sure you don't wish to say goodbye to anyone?
I think it'll be easier for them.
I understand.
I think that just
Very well. Come
she's
then.
nervous. She's fidgety.
Fair enough, too. All right. So, Astarius and you walk out of this place, and you head along the road through the various marshes and what have you across the vast landscape, and eventually you find yourself on the other side of some fairly treacherous hills. I won't call them mountains because they're not high enough to be mountains, but they are treacherous with deep gorges and dangerous slopes and swamps between them and so on. And wherever you go, you find that Asterios seems to always have something in hand. Everybody seems to like her when you go into towns. She speaks to them charmingly and deals with innkeepers and so on. And you find yourself staying in the most fabulous tavern by the end of the first week, and you get out of here. On the other side of those mountains, you discover that there is this huge road that's it's like this massive highway, much bigger road than you've ever seen in your life, and the cobblestones on this road are also huge. And Asterius tells you that this road was once built by the giants, and it's been laid here for more than 20,000 years. People have tried to build over it, but the original road is the only thing that seems to survive the centuries. Even the elven road that was laid over it has fallen to the wayside, and people have given up trying to restore it, and they just keep using the old giant highway. They call it the Ostorian Highway. And this road heads south, and eventually, after several days, You find yourself at a campsite at the base of a huge wall that cuts across the landscape from the left to the right, or from west to east as you head south. This massive, massive wall. It's like 120 feet high. And the road itself heads through this gap in the wall where it's kind of cracked. There's this big crack in one point where you can see the sun fading in the distance and some clouds beyond that. Or no, other way around. Clouds and then the sun. And there are birds wheeling overhead as you approach this sort of crack that the road goes through. And Asterios says, I think we should camp here. This would be a good place. Come, sit down. She says, now, being in my company will not all be just fun and games. You understand, you will have work to do.
Yes.
You will need to learn to hunt small animals for food. I will teach you what you can eat, berries and other plants, fauna and fauna, and so on. Flora and fauna. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. Exactly. And she seems to be feeding you quite well too so far. But she says, from here on, I wish you to catch the prey. I wish you to cook. You must learn to feed yourself.
Okay.
So she begins teaching you these skills, and mostly that teaching consists of you doing stuff and her watching and talking. I mean, she's always nice about it, but she's a little bit strict sometimes. Just seems reasonable.
Understandably.
Yeah. She's definitely trying to keep you safe, though. And then after you've spent your time with your cooking lesson and your hunting lesson, and she teaches you a little bit about traps and things as well, you're sitting down and looking up at the stars. I'll get you to make a perception check.
The old famous 10.
The old famous 10 again. Oh, my. All right. Well, she says, do you know any of these stars? Did your parents teach you them?
No, ma'am.
Well, she points over to a constellation near the horizon. She says, that there is Viralde. Viralde is the image of the warrior. The giants called him Grolantor, but the elves called him Tethrin Viralde. He is a symbol of fire. This one here, this one we call Memnor. Memnor is a god of the earth. It's the giant name that has survived for this long. The elves have another name for him. They call him Daral Tilvnar. His symbol is an auroch. Do you know an auroch when you see one?
An auroch?
Yes. It's like a large bison or bull.
Oh, okay.
That one, that's Stronmaus. His image is that of a wizard or a mage or magus. His giant name, Stronmaus, he was a god of the sun, you know, but our sun was destroyed. We keep that name to honor him. The elves call him Mithrian Sarath. There is Sehanine. You'll see that her stars are faded. She was the goddess.
Why are her stars?
Sorry, what?
Why are her stars faded?
Her stars are faded because of the shattered disk, the day of Parkard. Now, you can make a history check, but you can do it with disadvantage because you're a little girl. And you haven't learned everything yet. This is just you in fact, learning things.
I don't know what disadvantage is, but
Oh,
you can do a history check.
you can right-click on it, and it'll give you the disadvantage button.
$18.
18. Wow. Okay. So you've heard of Parkard.
Did a lot.
Right? You've heard of Parkard, you've heard of the Day of Parkard, but you don't know too much about it except to say that it was a day that everybody was afraid and a lot of people died, apparently, and the world was changed. You know that the moon was smashed into 7 pieces on the Day of Parkard, so that's that story. And Asterius says to you as she's talking, hold on, get my notes back in front of me. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Come here. That's not it. Here we go. Yes, the elves. Their goddess of the moon, Sehenine Moonbow, her avatar, her form, her earthly form, presided over the first moon. She lived there with Corellon Larathian at times when he came and graced us all with his presence. The primal elves. They lived in the first moon. It was her temple in the sky. And these moons that you see now are just pieces of that once great temple, the astral moon temple. Now it has been smashed into 7 pieces, laid across the horizon like detritus, debris. In any case, her image now is just the shattered disk. Sehenine, that is why her constellation has faded. They say that her soul has gone, dragged down to the abyss, and that Corellon Larathian, her husband, the king of the primal elves, he has retreated to Arvandor and will not return until he has finished with his grief. He has closed the gates to the elves, and they cannot return to their homelands. Not until Sehenine has been restored. But no one knows how to restore her. The Daughters of Twilight, have you heard of them? The clerics. I don't suppose you have. They do
I've
not
heard.
have heard of them. Good. The Daughters of Twilight, their mission is to restore her soul to the world and to bring the first moon back. As far as I'm aware, they don't even have a plan. Only an objective. But they have spent centuries seeking ways to do what it is they say they wish to do. No one believes them much these nights and days. So much time has passed and nothing has been achieved. That there, that's Corellon. She points to a constellation. Can you see the lion figure there? He appears as a lion in the sky. The giants called him Annam, the All-Father, but we call him Corellon Larathian. Should I say the elves call him that? Now, out of game, you might notice that this lady is in fact an elf. By the way, she has elven ears. Yeah. Corellon is the god of the sun and fire too, not unlike Verelde, solar gods. Then this is Ayalanus. She looks like you. Her image is that of a little girl playing. Perhaps she will protect you. Ayalanus is her giant name, and it is the name of the month of the year given to her. So out of game, I don't know if you've seen the calendar for Sidariel.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me send you a link. I'll drop this in the Zoom chat for you. Paste. Bonk. There you go. This is basically what I'm reading from. This is my cheat sheet.
Cheat sheet.
Yep, it's my cheat sheet. Okay. And she goes through all of the constellations, Libalis, whose image is the scales, basically the weighing scales. His full name is Libalis Enerath, and even the giants call him Libalis. Then there is Shevarash, who's a giant god. Wait a minute, no, that's an elven god, who is connected with the Raven Queen and also the giant god Dian Castra. Um, if you're looking at the page I sent you, you can see I've also included a list of inspirations for these months and constellations, right? And in the inspiration, you can see I've put in the original astrology forms, which include, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, so that we can kind of see what those energies would be like, if you like. But they're
Mm-hmm.
obviously, that's out of game information, but it's for you as a player to go, okay, so Coralon is Leo, Iolannis is Virgo, Chevarash is Scorpio. You can kind of see those connections. You might not know anything about astrology or care for that matter, so it's just there in case you do.
I'm a Leo and I'm a fire.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm an Aquarius in real life, so I'm an air. I'm an air sign.
I'm actually on the bicuspid of.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I tend to get on well with Leos, actually. Look, I've had two of my best friends have been Leos. So yeah, that probably explains how we get along.
Yeah.
So, dooba dooba doo. So she goes through all of these constellations with you, and when she's finished, and she gets you to repeat them back to her as well, so you sort of start learning this stuff. Um, she then says to you, "Now, I wish to teach you some spell of protection." And out of game, I'm going to look at your spells, and she's going to teach you something at this point that you can learn the next one. I think probably she might teach you absorb elements.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Right. Okay, so long story short is that you travel for about 8 weeks south to Dagdagiel. And over that
Mm-hmm.
time, you learn your spells, and she teaches you, many of the things that you know. Um, Eventually, you get to the city, and you come to the front gates of the city after a long period of time. And she says to you, well, I'm going to book us into an inn, a tavern, and then I'm going to give you some money, and I would like you to spend it however you wish, and spend the night. Choose something that you would like to do. Um, I can come with you if you need protection, but I should like you to have some time for yourself to enjoy yourself. Now that we're here in the big city and you've never been here before, what would you like to do here?
I want to go out and adventure on my own.
An adventure on your own. So out of game. How old do you think you are right now? Like, are we talking about an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 14-year-old?
I figure about 13, 14.
13, 14. Okay, makes sense. Okay. She looks at you for a long moment and she says, "I suppose I will have to let go sooner or later." Um, Now, at this point, you know the spell message. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we'll say that you got all your first level spells, but we'll say that your second level spells, um, not yet.
Okay.
Makes sense? Seem reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, All right. So out of game, what do you reckon she does for the next however long? What do you think this ends up being for her? Where does she want to go? What does she want to do? She wants to explore the city, or
Explore the city is probably where she finds Blackfire.
right? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, all right. So you're exploring the city, and as you're going through the city, you see there is this beautiful black horse at a stable currently, and there is this a couple of individuals wearing red robes, which you may or may not connect in your mind to anybody else. That's up to you. And this one of them seems to be trying to purchase this horse. This tall man with no hair, and he's got very pale skin and these lines down his face, tattooed on his face. Looks very alien to you. You've never seen anyone like this before in your life. And his what looks like an apprentice, like some sort of servant, who's with him, also wearing red robes, but not quite as elaborate. And this fellow is purchasing this horse from this lady who's selling the horse, and he hands over. You see this flash of gold, and at this point in your life, you haven't seen much gold. You know, you come from a farming community where silver is the usual currency of trade, silver and copper, but gold is pretty rare. Um, your father might have shown you a gold piece and been like, "This is a gold piece, love. You ever seen one of these before?" You know, it was a very important thing at that time. So when you see this, what we can assume is a wizard handing over this gold piece, or in fact several gold pieces, to this trader, this horse trader, um, it's quite impressive. In any case, he turns at that point and goes over to the horse, and the horse kind of rears up away from him. What do you do?
Okay. Horse obviously doesn't like him and
Right. So suddenly the
has the
horse.
condition of the horse.
Well, the condition of the
Is he
horse.
starved? Is he
No.
beaten?
At this point, this horse seems to be okay, um, but it doesn't like this individual, and it bolts. It manages to break free and start running, um, and it clambers past you. At that point, um, the wizard turns and says to the apprentice, "Fetch the horse." And the apprentice immediately gets on another horse, and the horse trader's like, "What? You can't take that one. That's mine." And then boof, he's bolting off on the second horse after the first horse. Um, and the wizard looks over at you and he's like, "What are you looking at, child?"
Nothing. Kind of got her head down.
Right. He seems to be. You think he's going to stand there and wait till his apprentice returns. And he turns around to the horse trader, and he says, "Here's some more gold for your troubles for the other horse." And she accepts the gold. It seems to be way more than the worth of that other horse, to be fair. Do you do anything at all?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
She knows what direction the horse went.
Okay.
She saw the horse turn down the alley and they're going straight.
All right.
She's waiting for them to leave, and she's gonna go down that alley.
Okay. Well, eventually a opportunity for you to get out of there happens, and you're able to head down into that alley. Um, when you get down into that alley, you look down the far end, and suddenly the horse turns around the corner, and you can see that there's the apprentice is holding its reins and beating it with a stick.
You stupid horse! How dare you defy our master?
And the horse is looking a bit hurt and wounded at that point, a bit upset. Quite upset.
I'm bending it.
Hmm?
Hey!
He looks.
Don't hit that horse!
Shut up, little girl. Get out of here. Be gone.
No, I'm not going to let you hurt him.
Come here. He move along.
Pulling the horse down.
No!
You can see it's
There's
hurting.
no way to treat an
And there,
animal.
that was a big horse head that just popped into the frame then from the side. I saw that. About the size
That's a
of a
German
horse.
Shepherd.
Right. It's about the size of a horse, though.
Yeah.
A small horse, but still. Okay.
Come on, move
I
along.
won't let you hurt him. Let him go.
He continues moving towards you like he's just going to kick you out of the way or something when he gets to where you are. He doesn't seem to care that you're there right now. You're almost invisible to him. You're a distraction. You're a minor obstacle. And he keeps moving the horse down there.
Come on, you. Come on.
Zalderax is going to be extraordinarily annoyed with you. You'd be lucky if he doesn't burn the flesh off you alive, he says to the horse. They get up to where you are.
Get out of the way, little girl.
No, leave the horse alone.
Oh, you're going to regret this. He starts reaching into his robe. Would you like to roll for initiative?
Okay. Initiative.
And remember the number, because I'm just putting together this thing.
14.
14. Okay, I'll remember that. 14. All right, and I need to add a thing. Okay. And I need a horse. Right. So you rolled a 14, you say, for your initiative.
Mm-hmm.
14. All right, so Lyssa, he's reaching into his robe. What would you like to do? He is 5 feet away from you.
Okay. He's 5 feet away from me. And he's reaching in his robes, and we have no idea what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Shield.
You cast shield. Okay. All right. So shield is a reaction, actually. You don't actually have to cast that until he does something.
Okay.
So you can choose to do something else and cast shield as a reaction if you wish.
Well, I don't want to hurt the horse.
Fair enough.
And he's right next to me.
Right next to you.
Shocking gas.
Shocking grasp. Okay, so that's a hit roll, I think. So let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
15. All right. That hits him. Damage from shocking grasp.
Fighting wizard twice my size and twice my age.
14 points of damage. Holy crap. Okay, so he you zap him like a taser. You basically just you're like a taser when you grab him. And you're frying him for a moment. Um, and when he comes out of that moment of taking that frying damage, you just deliver that. He is now just cooked. There's hair standing. Oh, he doesn't have any hair, but you know his what little hair on his body is standing up. His robes are kind of burnt and singed. There's smoke coming off him and steam coming off him, and he looks at you. How dare you? How dare you? And he pulls out this wand from inside and tries to cast magic missile at you. Now you can use your reaction to shield. So what shield
You
does?
know, I'm immune to magic missile.
Are you? How is that?
Yes,
Where does it say that? Is it in your features?
I was. Yeah, it's in there. Remember, because I wrote it down.
Immune to magic missile. Empowered spells, subtle spells, font of magic, dragon ancestries. Wow, your maximum hit points increase by 8. When you aren't wearing armor, your AC equals 15. That's amazing. Spellcasting, sorcery points, meta magic, twist spells, empowered spells, subtle spells.
And where are you? I wrote it there.
Oh, you've already got the alert feat. I just realized that makes the dagger of warning a little bit superfluous. You could switch the feat out.
I read that.
Yeah, where did you read that? I mean,
I read that.
I think if you read the shield spell, that's what it does. That's what the shield spell actually does, is makes you immune to magic missile. So if you use it as a reaction,
that's what it was.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so he pulls out this wand, and the wand itself discharges 3 little blue missiles that go out towards you. And as they do, you react with the shield, and they just dissipate. And they don't bounce off so much as they just kind of disintegrate and fall away into the astral plane. And he looks at you like, "What?"
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, where is it?
It is in shield.
Yeah, I thought
I
so.
take no damage. I knew I saw it
That's
somewhere.
right. That was perfect. Perfect. He totally did not expect you to do that. Okay, so you shield, the magic missiles are zapped out of existence. He's like, "What?" And at that point, the riding horse clobbers him with its hooves, or it tries to at least. It tries to. It doesn't do a very good job. It sort of rears up and starts whacking its hooves around. He moves back against the wall to get out of its way. And it's your turn. What do you do?
Is the horse far enough away?
Yep. Probably.
Ice knife.
Ice knife. Okay. Very good. So it's a hit roll with the ice knife. 21 is a hit. Damage, please. 4. Okay, but that's not the end of it, because he still has to make a dexterity saving throw, I think. Doesn't he? If you read Ice Knife. Because the shard then explodes as well. Oh, he rolled an 18. Okay, so he takes 4 points of damage, but he then dodges the explosion. It smashes out. The horse manages to get around the corner just enough to not take any damage. The wizard turns back to you now, popping out from where he is. And he is going to... Let me see. he has objectives, so I have to be careful what he does. Right, he casts Gust of Wind at you. This blast of wind comes in your direction, and you can make a strength saving throw, please.
Strength.
Yep. 15. All right. Well, you grab onto some of the masonry on the wall of the alleyway, and the gust of wind blasts past you, but does not knock you off your feet. The horse attacks him with its hooves. It 14. It hits. It hits.
Yay, Blackfire.
And the horse knocks him stone cold out. Dunk! He hits the ground, and the horse is. What do you do then?
Easy, boy. Easy. Easy. I come up to the horse slowly. Easy, boy. I'm not going to hurt you. Easy. Come on. I won't hurt you. Grabbing gently by her wings, petting.
All right.
Come on. Let's get you somewhere safe. Come on, boy.
All right. And thusly, you take the horse with you and return back to the inn where your keeper, your Asterius, awaits. Now it is 2:21. I think we've did our 3 hours, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I got to start preparing for Vaingate Chronicles tonight, so I'm going to have to probably love you and leave you here for now.
Okay.
Did you have fun?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Oh, cool. That's what we want to hear. All right. Well, if you want to do this again, or next week, or you know what to do, book a time, and we can do it. And I'm in. This was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank
you
that,
for taking the time.
Oh, no worries. I mean, the next time we play Burning Path, you're going to have that much more knowledge of who you are, and I think that's going to really help.
And a hidden secret.
And a hidden secret, right? So you'll have your feet on the ground in the game now. Up until now, you've been catching up with all of the D&D mechanics, because that's a pain in the ass all by itself. That's just a pain in the ass. And you haven't really known who your character was. You had a kind of general idea of who your character was, but now you've got more impetus. You've got a sister that died, you've got a family that you had, you've got this mentor that took you away, you've had this incident with the Barakyle envoy wizards. So and we know where your horse came from. So all of these things are starting to add up, and that's a whole string of memories that you are now able to relate back to your companions if you wish to. Now, that being said, I think the plan was that they, in the end, Asterius has asked you to delete your memories in order to protect you, but also so that your enemies do not suspect you, so that you can get in amongst them. I think the objective is to make you into a spy that can spy upon the Barakyle envoy somehow, ultimately. And so in order to do that, they cannot suspect that you are anyway a dragon. That makes sense?
Or I have knowledge or something that the Barakai could want.
Yeah, right. Well, that's right. I mean, if they suspect you're a dragon or anything like that, they're going to want you, and they're going to put you in a cage and prod you and do nasty things. So you don't want that. So you want to avoid that at all costs. All right. I'm pretty satisfied with this session, if you are happy. Great stuff. All right. We'll stop the recording, and I'm going to upload this to YouTube and send you a link in about 10 minutes.